The stars stretched endlessly across the viewport of the horizon, Earth's first ship capable of traveling faster than light. Captain Park stood at the center of the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. His heart was beating fast, but his face showed nothing. After 300 years of dreaming about the stars, humanity was finally reaching out to touch them. "Captain, we are about to exit hyperspace," said the navigator. "Arrival in 30 seconds." Park nodded. He looked around at his crew, 50 men and women, the best Earth had to offer. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, diplomats. They had trained for years for this moment. Nobody knew what waited on the other side. Doctor stood near the communication station. She was the ship's, an expert in languages. Her job was to talk to whatever they found out there. She had spent 20 years preparing for a conversation that might never happen. Now it was about to happen. 10 seconds, the navigator announced. The ship shuddered. The stars outside the viewport stretched into long lines of light and then suddenly snapped back into points. The horizon emerged into normal space. And there, filling half the viewport, was the largest structure any human had ever seen. It was a station, a massive ring of metal and light spinning slowly in the darkness. Ships moved around it like insects around a hive. Thousands of ships, maybe millions. The station was so large that Earth's moon could fit inside it 3 times over. "My God," someone whispered. Park felt his legs go weak, but he did not show it. He had prepared for the possibility of alien life. He had not prepared for this. This was not just alien life. This was an alien civilization so advanced that humanity looked like children playing with sticks. "Captain," said the sensor officer, her voice shaking, "I am detecting over 12,000 distinct ship designs, at least 40 different types of energy signatures. This is not one species. This is many." Doctor stepped forward. "A galactic community," she said quietly. "They found each other. They built something together." Before anyone could respond, the communication console lit up with incoming signals. Hundreds of signals in hundreds of different frequencies. The aliens had noticed them. Park took a deep breath. "Doctor, can you understand any of it?" She was already working, her fingers flying across the console. "They are sending mathematical patterns, universal constants. They want to establish a common language." She paused. "Captain, they are very organized. They have done this before." "Then let us show them we can learn," Park said. "Open a channel, send the same patterns back." For the next 6 hours, Doctor worked to build a bridge between 2 worlds. Slowly, painfully, she and the alien communications officers created a basic shared language. Simple words, simple ideas, enough to talk. The first real message from the aliens was an invitation. "Come to the station. Meet the 12 voices." Park accepted. The shuttle bay of Prime was larger than any building on Earth. Park, Doctor, and a small team of officers walked down the ramp and into a world that made no sense. Aliens, everywhere aliens, tall ones with too many arms, short ones that floated instead of walked, creatures of crystal and creatures of shadow. Some had faces, some did not. Park kept his expression calm, but inside he was screaming with wonder and fear. A group of robed figures approached. They walked on 4 legs and had faces like Earth's deer, but their eyes held ancient intelligence. "Welcome, humans," said the lead figure. Its voice was translated through a small device floating beside it. "I am High Arbiter of the species. I speak for the Galactic Conquered. You have traveled far." Park bowed his head slightly. "Thank you for receiving us. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge." His large eyes blinked slowly. "Yes, we have heard your transmissions. We have studied your broadcasts, your entertainment, your history." The alien paused. "We know what you are." Something in his tone made Park uneasy. "We are explorers, we are curious, we want to learn." "You are predators," said. The word hung in the air like poison. "Your species hunted other species to extinction. You invented weapons that could destroy your entire world. You fought wars that killed millions of your own kind. You burned your planet's sky with pollution. You came close to ending yourselves a dozen times, stepped closer. And yet you survived. Every time you survived. That is what frightens us most. Doctor spoke up. We are not proud of everything in our history, but we have changed. We have united. We want to be better. Looked at her with something that might have been pity. The conquered has existed for 40,000 years. We have encountered many species, aggressive ones, dangerous ones. We dealt with them. We guided them toward peace, or we contained them. The alien's voice grew cold. But we have never encountered anything like humanity, a species that thrives on conflict, that adapts to any threat, that refuses to die. Park felt anger rising in his chest, but he controlled it. We did not come here to threaten you. We came here to join you. That is not possible, said. The 12 voices have already met. We monitored your approach for 3 days before you arrived. We studied your ship's weapons. We analyzed your crew's biological data. We voted. Voted on what? Park asked. On what to do with you. Raised one thin arm and pointed toward the viewport. Outside, dozens of warships were moving into position around the horizon. Humanity will return to your home system. You will remain there. The conquered will establish a quarantine zone around your star. No human ship will leave. No alien ship will enter. Doctor stepped forward. You cannot do this. We have done nothing wrong. We came here in peace. You exist, said simply. That is enough. Your species is a virus waiting to spread. Your adaptability is a weapon. Your resilience is a threat. If we allow you to grow, to expand, to learn our technologies, you will eventually consume everything. The alien turned away. This is not punishment. This is prevention. Park wanted to argue. He wanted to fight. Every instinct in his body screamed for action. But he looked at the warships outside. He looked at his small crew. He thought about Earth, waiting for news that would never come. How long? He asked quietly. Paused at the doorway. Forever, if necessary, until you prove you have truly changed, or until you destroy yourselves as so many expected. The alien looked back one last time. Goodbye, humans. We hope we never have to speak again. The journey back to Sol was silent. Park stood at the viewport and watched the stars. Behind them, the greatest civilization in the galaxy grew smaller and smaller. They had reached for the stars and been told they were monsters. Doctor joined him. What do we tell Earth? Park thought for a long moment. We tell them the truth. The galaxy is afraid of us. He paused. And we use that fear. We learn. We grow. We become so strong that when they need us, and they will need us, we will be ready. As the horizon limped toward home, a faint signal echoed across the ship's sensors. A distress call, ancient and terrified, coming from the edge of the galaxy. Something was waking up, something hungry. But the conquered was not listening. Only the humans heard it. And Park smiled grimly. They will call for us. One day they will beg for our help. He was right. 5 years passed since humanity was sent home in shame. The quarantine held. No human ship could leave the Sol system. Conquered warships patrolled the borders day and night, watching, waiting for the dangerous apes to try something foolish. But the conquered did not understand humans at all. Inside the quarantine zone, Earth had changed. The shame of rejection had united the planet like nothing before. Old nations forgot their differences. Old enemies became partners. Every resource, every mind, every dream was focused on one goal, becoming strong enough that the galaxy could never ignore them again. Admiral Bay stood in the command center of Earth's new military headquarters, buried deep beneath the mountains of Korea. Screens covered every wall, showing ship construction, weapons research, training programs. In 5 years, humanity had built a fleet 10 times larger than what the horizon had represented. Admiral, said a young officer, the Ghost Wind has returned from its mission. Bay nodded. The Ghost Wind was humanity's secret, a stealth ship so advanced that it could slip past the Concorde's patrols like a shadow. For 2 years, it had been exploring beyond the quarantine zone, gathering information, learning about the galaxy that feared them. Lieutenant Shin commanded the Ghost Wind. She was young, only 28, but she had proven herself the most skilled pilot in the fleet. She was also fearless, which made her perfect for missions that would drive other people mad with terror. Walked into the command center still wearing her flight suit. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking slightly. Bay had never seen her shaken before. "Report," he said. Took a deep breath. "Admiral, the Concorde is in trouble, big trouble." She activated the holographic display. A star map appeared, showing the outer edges of Concorde space. Red markers covered dozens of systems. "These are colonies," said. 3 months ago there were 12 million people living in these systems. Now there is nothing. No people, no buildings, no wreckage, just empty planets. Bay leaned forward. "What happened to them?" "Nobody knows. The Concorde is keeping it secret. They do not want panic, but I got close to one of the dead worlds." His voice dropped. "I saw it, Admiral. I saw what did this." The hologram changed. It showed a recording from the Ghost Wind sensors. At first it looked like static. Then shapes emerged from the darkness. Machines, but not like any machines humans had ever built. They moved like insects, like a swarm. Thousands of them, maybe millions, crawling across the surface of a dead planet. "They call it the Hollow," said. "The Concorde thought it was extinct. 12,000 years ago the Hollow nearly destroyed everything. The Concorde's ancestors barely survived. They thought they killed it." She paused. "They were wrong." The room was silent. Everyone stared at the swarm on the screen. "What does it want?" Bay asked. "Everything," said. "It does not just kill, it consumes. It takes the matter from planets, from people, from ships, and uses it to make more of itself. And the worst part," she touched a control and the image zoomed in. "Look at this unit. Look at its structure." Bay looked. The machine had a face twisted and frozen in eternal horror. The Hollow had taken the dead and built them into itself. "It learns from what it eats," said. "It takes their knowledge, their memories, their technology. Every species it consumes makes it stronger. The Concorde cannot stop it. Their weapons do not work. Their strategies are too old. They have been at peace too long." Bay stood up and walked to the window that looked down on the construction yards below. 100 new warships were being built, weapons that no Concorde species had ever imagined. "Does the Concorde know we know?" he asked. "No, Admiral. They still think we are trapped and helpless." Bay smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Good. Bring me researcher Iam. We need to plan." Iam was not a soldier. He was a scientist, small and quiet, with glasses that were always sliding down his nose. But he was also the most brilliant military theorist humanity had ever produced. He had spent his life studying war, not because he loved it, but because he believed that understanding destruction was the key to preventing it. He arrived in the command center an hour later, carrying a tablet filled with notes. "I have analyzed the data from Lieutenant Shin's mission," he said. "The Hollow is a distributed intelligence. It has no central brain, no leader to kill. Every unit is connected to every other unit. They share information instantly across light years." "How do we fight something like that?" Bay asked. Iam pushed his glasses up. "The Concorde cannot fight it because they think like defenders. They build walls, they protect territory, they wait for the enemy to come." He looked at the Admiral. "Humanity does not think like that. We attack, we take risks, we accept losses to gain victory." He touched his tablet and new images appeared on the hologram. Battle plans, fleet movements, weapon designs. "The Hollow expects prey," Iam said. "It has never faced a predator. If we strike fast enough, hard enough, at multiple points simultaneously, we can confuse its network. We can create chaos in its system, and in that chaos we can hurt it." Stepped forward. You are talking about attacking something that has destroyed civilizations. Yes, I'm said simply, and I believe we can win. Meanwhile, Ambassador was working her own mission. She was not a soldier or a scientist. She was a diplomat, trained to smile while hiding secrets, to find allies in the darkest places. For 3 years, she had been smuggling herself into conquered space, meeting with aliens who disagreed with the quarantine. There were not many, but they existed. Voice of the Conquered's ruling council was the most important one. Was young for an alien leader, only 400 years old. He had argued against the quarantine from the beginning. He believed that isolating humanity was a mistake. Now, with the Hollow returning, he believed it more than ever. Met him in secret, on a trading station far from Prime. The Hollow has taken 14 colonies now, said. His voice was tired. The Council refuses to act. High Arbiter believes we can contain it. He is wrong. We tried containment 12,000 years ago. It nearly killed us all. What do you need? Asked. Looked at her with ancient eyes. We need something the Conquered has forgotten how to do. We need to fight, really fight. Not defend, not contain, not negotiate. He paused. We need humans. Nodded slowly. Humanity would help, but not for free. We want the quarantine lifted. We want a seat on the council. We want to be treated as equals. We'll never agree. Then we'll watch the Hollow eat everything he loves. His voice was hard. The choice is simple. Accept our help and survive. Reject us and die. Was silent for a long moment. Then he did something I'd never seen an alien do before. He laughed. Your species truly is terrifying, he said. Even in this moment you are negotiating. You are planning. The galaxy burns and you see opportunity. We see survival, said. Ours and yours, that is not evil, that is practical. Back on Earth, Admiral Bay called a meeting of the planet's leaders. He showed them the recordings. He told them about the Hollow. He explained IAM's battle plans. The Conquered will need us, he said. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. When that day comes, we must be ready. Not just ready to fight, but ready to win. Ready to show the galaxy that humanity is not a threat to be contained. We are a shield against the darkness. The leaders voted. It was unanimous. Humanity would prepare for war. In her small office, Dr. Han worked on something different. She was a bioweapons specialist, but she hated her job. She had spent her career creating ways to kill, and it haunted her. Now she saw a chance to use her skills for something else. The Hollow is biological at its core, she muttered, studying samples that had secretly collected. Machine on the outside, but living matter underneath. It can be infected. It can be poisoned. She worked day and night, sleeping at her desk, eating only when her assistants forced her. Slowly, she developed something new. A virus designed specifically to target the Hollow's organic components. A weapon that could kill the unkillable. Months passed. The Hollow grew closer to Prime. The Conquered's fleets fought and lost, fought and lost. Panic spread across the galaxy. And then finally the call came. Ambassador received the message personally. It was from Voice, but it carried the seal of the entire council. Please, the message said, help us. Smiled and sent one word back, coming. Humanity's moment had arrived. Prime was dying of fear. The great station that had stood for 40,000 years as a symbol of galactic peace was now filled with refugees and panic. Ships arrived every hour carrying survivors from destroyed colonies. Their stories were always the same. The Hollow came. Everyone died. Only the lucky escaped. High Arbiter stood before the 12 voices in the great council chamber. The room was ancient, beautiful, covered in carvings that told the history of the Conquered. Now it felt like a tomb. The outer defense line has fallen, announced. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. The Hollow will reach Prime within 6 months. The other voices reacted with horror. Some cried out. Some sat in stunned silence. Voice simply closed his eyes as if he had already known. "What are our options?" asked Voice, a being of living crystal whose body chimed when she spoke. "We have none," admitted. "Our fleets are destroyed, our weapons are useless. The Hollow adapts to everything we throw at it. It learns faster than we can invent." He paused. "We face extinction." The chamber erupted in argument. Blame was thrown like weapons. Old alliances cracked. The 12 voices, united for thousands of years, began to tear themselves apart. And then the doors opened. Ambassador walked into the chamber as if she owned it. She was dressed simply in a dark suit, her hair pulled back. Behind her walked Doctor and General, the commander of Earth's military forces. They moved with confidence, with purpose. They moved like predators entering a room full of prey. "Who are you?" demanded. "This chamber is sealed. No one enters without permission." Smiled. "I am ambassador of the human coalition. I am here because you need me." "Humans," spat the word. "You were quarantined. How did you get past our patrols?" "Your patrols are watching for ships trying to leave our system," said. "They never thought to look for ships coming back in." She walked forward, stopping at the center of the chamber. "High Arbiter, we have been watching your war with the Hollow. We know how badly it is going. We know you have no answers." "And you think you do?" His voice dripped with contempt. "Your species cannot even agree on a single government. You still fight among yourselves. What could you possibly offer us?" General stepped forward. He was a tall man, broad-shouldered, with a face that had seen too many battles. When he spoke, his voice was calm but filled with power. "We offer you survival," he said. "For the past 5 years, humanity has been preparing for this moment. We have built a fleet of over 2,000 warships. We have developed weapons specifically designed to fight the Hollow. We have studied your enemy, tested our strategies, and trained our soldiers for the kind of war you have forgotten how to fight." "Lies," said. "You expect us to believe." "I expect nothing," interrupted. "I am not here to convince you. I am here to make you an offer, accept it or reject it. The choice is yours." Doctor activated a holographic display. Images filled the chamber. Human warships, sleek and deadly. Soldiers training in harsh conditions. Weapons tests that showed the Hollow units being destroyed. "3 months ago," said, "a Hollow scout force entered our quarantine zone. We believe they were testing our defenses. We destroyed them completely. Not one unit escaped." The chamber went silent. The 12 voices stared at the images. Voice spoke first. "You fought the Hollow and won." "Yes," said simply. "We captured several units intact. Our scientists have studied them. We know how they work. We know how they communicate, and most importantly," she smiled, "we know how to kill them." Dr. Hand's hologram appeared next to her. The scientist looked tired but triumphant. "The Hollow's strength is also its weakness," explained. "Every unit is connected. They share information instantly, but that connection works both ways. I have developed a biological weapon, a virus that can spread through their network. Infect one unit and the infection spreads to all of them." "That is impossible," said. "Our scientists worked for centuries. They found no such weakness." "Your scientists were looking for a military solution," said. "I looked for a medical one. The Hollow is part organic. All organic things can get sick." The room erupted in whispers. The 12 voices spoke among themselves, their voices mixing in a storm of sound. Raised his arms for silence. "Even if this is true," he said slowly, "why would you help us? We imprisoned your species. We called you monsters. We treated you like animals." Ambassador stepped forward again. Her smile was gone now. Her face was serious. "You did all of those things," she said, "and we remember. But humanity did not survive 1,000 disasters by holding grudges. We survived by being practical. Right now, the practical choice is to help you. If the Hollow destroys the conquered, it will eventually come for us. We would rather fight it here, far from Earth, with allies at our side." "And what do you want in return?" Voice asked. Three things, said. First, the quarantine ends immediately. Human ships will travel freely throughout the galaxy. Second, humanity receives full membership in the Conquered, with 3 seats on this council instead of 1. Third, the Conquered publicly acknowledges that they were wrong about us, that we are not monsters, that we are partners. His face twisted with anger. You dare to negotiate while the galaxy burns. This is extortion. This is reality, said. You can call it whatever you want, but without us you die, with us you live. That is not complicated. Voice stood. He was smaller than the other voices, his fur gray with age, but his voice was strong. High Arbiter, I have argued against the quarantine since the beginning. I told you that isolating humanity was a mistake. I told you that we would need them one day. He looked around the chamber. That day has come. Our fleets are ashes. Our colonies are graveyards. The Hollow will be here in 6 months. What do we have to lose? Our dignity, said. Our principles, everything the Conquered stands for. The Conquered stands for survival, replied. It stands for the cooperation of species against common threats. The humans are offering exactly that. If we reject them because of pride, we deserve to die. The debate raged for hours. Old arguments were repeated. Old fears were raised. But slowly, gradually, the mood in the chamber shifted. The 12 voices were not fools. They could see the truth in the recordings. They could hear the confidence in the humans' voices. They could feel the cold breath of extinction on their necks. Finally called for a vote. Voice by voice, the decision was made. 7 in favor, 5 against. The motion passed. Stood in silence for a long moment. Then he turned to face Ambassador. The Conquered accepts your offer, he said. The words seemed to cause him physical pain. The quarantine is lifted. Humanity will have 3 seats on the council. We will acknowledge that we were wrong. He stepped closer to her. But know this, human. If your species betrays us, if this is some trick, I will personally ensure that your entire race is erased from existence. Did not flinch. If we wanted to destroy you, High Arbiter, we would have let the Hollow do it for us. We are here because we want to help. Please try to remember that. She turned and walked toward the door. General and Doctor followed. At the threshold, paused and looked back. Our fleet will arrive within the week, she said. I suggest you tell your commanders to stay out of our way. Within hours, the news spread across the galaxy. Humanity was free. Humanity was coming. And for the first time in 12,000 years, the Hollow faced something new. In the darkness between stars, the swarm sensed the change. New ships were approaching. New signals were filling the void. New enemies. The Hollow had consumed 1,000 species. It had learned from each one. It feared nothing. But as the first human warships crossed the old quarantine line, the Hollow did something it had never done before. It paused. It studied. And then slowly it began to retreat. General watched the sensor readings and smiled. They are scared, he said. Good, they should be. The war was about to begin. The human fleet arrived at the front lines like a storm breaking over a dying world. 2,000 warships, painted black, moving in formations that the Conquered had never seen before. They did not form defensive lines. They did not wait for orders. They attacked. General commanded from the bridge of the Iron Will, the largest ship humanity had ever built. Around him, officers shouted orders and received reports. Screens showed a dozen battles happening at once. The war had begun. Enemy formation detected in Sector 7, an officer reported. Approximately 50,000 Hollow units. Studied the display. Send the 3rd and 4th squadrons. Tell them to use pattern Delta. Draw the swarm toward the gravity well, then hit them from behind. The orders went out. Human ships moved with terrifying speed, darting between enemy formations, striking and retreating, never staying in one place long enough to be surrounded. The Hollow tried to adapt, but the humans changed tactics faster than the swarm could process. Lieutenant Shin led the Ghost Wind Squadron, 12 of the fastest ships in the fleet. Her job was simple: create chaos, strike deep behind enemy lines, destroy supply nodes, cut communication links, make the Hollow blind and confused. Contact in 30 seconds, announced. All ships, remember the training. Stay fast, stay together, and do not stop moving. The moment you slow down, you are dead. The squadron plunged into the heart of the swarm. Hollow units surrounded them like a cloud of hungry insects. Energy weapons fired in every direction. Explosions lit the darkness. But the humans did not die. They danced through the chaos, their ships twisting and spinning in patterns that seemed impossible. Had trained her pilots for years, pushing them beyond their limits, teaching them to think faster than the machines chasing them. "Target the Nexus point," shouted. "All firepower now." 12 ships fired as one. A massive hollow structure, the hub that connected thousands of units, exploded in a flash of light. Instantly, the surrounding swarm became confused. Units crashed into each other. Weapons fired at empty space. The connection was broken. The conquered commanders watched from Prime, unable to believe what they were seeing. "They are winning," voice whispered. "By the ancestors, they are actually winning." High Arbiter said nothing. His face was pale. He had spent his entire life believing that humanity was a threat to be contained. Now he watched those same humans dying to save his people. Captain Park commanded the Horizon II, leading the main assault force against a hollow hive nexus. The nexus was a massive structure, almost like a living planet, where the swarm produced new units and coordinated its attacks. Destroying it would cripple the Hollow's presence in this sector. But the cost would be high. "All ships, this is Captain Park," he said over the fleet channel. "The Nexus is heavily defended. Many of us will not survive this attack. I will not lie to you. I will not pretend this is anything other than what it is." He paused. "But if we do not destroy that Nexus, the Hollow will reach Prime. Billions will die. The conquered will fall. Everything we have fought for will mean nothing." He looked around his bridge. His crew, young and old, human, and now a few allied aliens who had volunteered, looked back at him with steady eyes. "Today, we are not fighting for Earth. We are not fighting for humanity. We are fighting for everyone, for every species that ever looked at the stars and wondered if they were alone. We are the answer to that question. We are here, and we will not let the darkness win." The fleet charged. The battle lasted 18 hours. Human ships fell by the dozens, then by the hundreds. The Hollow threw everything it had at the attackers, waves of units that seemed endless. But the humans kept coming. Every time a ship was destroyed, two more took its place. Every time a formation was broken, another reformed. Park fought from the front, his ship taking damage that would have destroyed any conquered vessel. Systems failed. Fires broke out. Crew members died at their stations. But the Horizon II kept moving, kept fighting, kept pushing toward the Nexus. Finally, they reached it. "All ships concentrate fire on the core," Park ordered. "Everything we have now." 100 human ships fired as one. Missiles, energy beams, kinetic weapons, everything poured into the Nexus. The structure began to crack. Light poured through the gaps. The hollow units surrounding it screamed, a sound that echoed across the void, a sound of pain and confusion. And then Dr. Hant's weapon was deployed. A single missile, small and unremarkable, flew through the chaos and embedded itself in the Nexus core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the virus began to spread. It moved through the Hollow's network like fire through dry wood. Unit after unit stopped functioning. The screaming grew louder, then changed to something else. Something that almost sounded like fear. For the first time in 12,000 years, the Hollow knew what it felt like to die. The Nexus exploded. The shock wave destroyed a dozen human ships instantly. The Horizon II was thrown backward, spinning out of control. Park was thrown from his chair, his arm broken, his vision blurring. But he was smiling. "Did we get it?" he gasped. "Yes, Captain," his first officer replied, bleeding from a head wound. "The Nexus is destroyed. The Hollow is retreating." Across the sector, the remaining Hollow units fled. They had never retreated before. They had never needed to. But now, infected and confused, they ran. General received the reports and allowed himself a moment of relief, but only a moment. "This is not over," he said. "We hurt them, we scared them, but they will adapt. They will learn. We need to keep pushing." The war continued for 3 more years. Battle after battle, sector after sector, the human-led forces pushed the Hollow back. Conquered species that had never held weapons learned to fight. Factories that had produced luxury goods now built warships. The entire galaxy was transformed by war. Researcher I am worked constantly, developing new tactics, new weapons, new ways to confuse and destroy the swarm. He slept 3 hours a night. He forgot to eat unless his assistants reminded him. His health was failing, but he refused to stop. "Every day I work is a day the Hollow does not win," he said. "I can rest when they are dead." Doctor traveled with the fleet, serving as a bridge between humans and their alien allies. She translated not just words, but ideas. She helped species that had been at peace understand the terrible beauty of sacrifice. She watched young aliens die for people they had never met, inspired by human example. Voice came to her one night, after a particularly brutal battle. "I do not understand your people," he said. "You fight like madness. You throw yourselves at death as if it means nothing. And yet, when one of you falls, the others mourn as if they have lost everything." He shook his head. "How do you hold these things together in your minds?" Thought for a long moment. "On Earth," she said, "we have a saying. We say that the only thing necessary for evil to win is for good people to do nothing. We know that we might die, we accept it, but we fight anyway because the alternative is to let the darkness win, and we cannot do that, not ever." Was silent. Then he said, "I think I am beginning to understand why we feared you so much." The final battle came at the galactic core. The Hollow had retreated there, gathering its remaining forces, preparing for a last stand. The human fleet, now joined by ships from every conquered species, followed. IM had one final plan, a modified version of Dr. Hand's virus, stronger and faster, designed to spread through the entire Hollow network at once. But someone had to deliver it to the Central Intelligence, the ancient core that connected every Hollow unit in existence. "I will go," IM said quietly. General looked at him. "You know what that means." "Yes," IM smiled. It was a tired smile, but peaceful. "I have given everything I have to this war, my ideas, my time, my health. This is the last gift I can give." He looked at the general. "Let me give it." The mission was simple. A small ship, fast and quiet, carrying IM and the virus. It slipped through the chaos of the final battle, dodging Hollow units, avoiding the energy storms that surrounded the core. IM reached the Central Intelligence alone. The Hollow tried to stop him, but it was too late. He activated the virus and transmitted it directly into the network. The effect was immediate. The Hollow screamed. Every unit across the entire galaxy screamed at once. The network collapsed. The connection that had bound the swarm for 1,000,000 years was severed. IM's ship was consumed by the dying Hollow. His last transmission was simple: "Tell them I was not afraid." The war was over. The galaxy celebrated. Species that had never spoken to each other embraced. Songs were sung in 1,000 languages. The Hollow was gone, truly gone, scattered into fragments that would never reconnect. And at the heart of it all, humanity stood, battered, bleeding, having lost over 1,000,000 of their people, but standing. General received a message from High Arbiter. The old alien's face was different now. The contempt was gone. In its place was something that might have been respect. "We were wrong about your species," said. "We saw predators, we saw monsters. We did not see what you truly are." He paused. "You are protectors. You are the shield the galaxy did not know it needed." Nodded. "We are all of those things," he said. "We are predators and protectors, monsters and heroes. That is what it means to be human. We contain everything, the good and the bad, and we choose what to be." Was silent for a moment. Then he said, "The conquered would be honored to call humanity our partners, not as a species to be contained, as equals, as friends." Allowed himself a small smile. "We accept." In the ruins of the Hollow's core, a fragment of the ancient intelligence still flickered. And in that fragment, a single thought remained. The humans had won, but they had also been noticed. Something else, something far older and stranger, had watched the war with great interest. And it was curious about these fascinating, terrifying, wonderful creatures called humans. Prime had been rebuilt, larger and more beautiful than before. New sections of the station were designed by human architects, their style mixing with the ancient conquered traditions. Everywhere you looked, humans and aliens walked together, worked together, lived together. The fear was gone. In its place was something new, trust. Ambassador stood in the great council chamber, the same room where she had once delivered humanity's ultimatum. But today was different. Today, she wore the robes of the High Arbiter. The ceremony had been simple but powerful. The 12 voices, now including 3 humans, had voted unanimously. Was the first human to lead the conquered. She was also the first leader who had once been told her entire species was too dangerous to exist. "The galaxy has changed," she said in her acceptance speech. 10 years ago we were prisoners. Today we are leaders. But we must never forget the journey that brought us here. We must never forget the price that was paid." In the audience, Doctor wiped tears from her eyes. She had watched grow from a young diplomat to a seasoned leader. She had watched humanity grow from a quarantined species to the heart of a galactic community. It still felt like a dream. After the ceremony, walked through the rebuilt university district. This was her project, her legacy. The Galactic Academy of Cultural Exchange, where species from across the conquered came to learn about each other. Human history was taught alongside philosophy and art. Students debated, argued, and sometimes fought. It was messy and chaotic and absolutely beautiful. A young student approached her. "Doctor, I have a question about the human general, the one called Yi Sun Shin. The records say he fought with only 12 ships against hundreds. How is this possible?" Smiled. "It is possible because he was human. He looked at impossible odds and decided they were not impossible. He used the ocean itself as a weapon. He refused to accept defeat." She sat down on a bench, inviting the student to join her. "This is what humans do. We do not accept limits. We do not believe in things that cannot be done. Sometimes this makes us foolish. Sometimes it gets us killed. But sometimes it changes history." The student was quiet for a moment. "I want to be like that," he said finally. "I want to refuse to accept defeat." "Then you are already on your way," said. Far from Prime, Captain Shin commanded the Conquered's first rapid response fleet. 50 ships, crewed by 30 different species, trained to move fast and hit hard. Their mission was simple: respond to any threat, anywhere in the galaxy, within hours instead of weeks. Had changed over the years. Her hair was streaked with gray now. Her face had lines that told stories of battles won and friends lost. But her eyes were still sharp, still hungry, still watching for the next challenge. "Captain," her first officer reported, "we have received a distress call from the Outer Rim. A colony is under attack by raiders." Smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Set course. Maximum speed. Let us remind these raiders why attacking conquered citizens is a bad idea." The fleet moved as one, a perfect machine of cooperation and violence. Navigators plotted the course. Human gunners prepared the weapons. Engineers pushed the engines beyond their limits. They reached the colony in 4 hours. The battle lasted 12 minutes. When it was over, stood on the bridge and looked at her crew. 12 different faces, 12 different species, one team. Good work, she said. Now let us go home. Dr. Han had retired from weapons research years ago. She had seen enough death, created enough instruments of destruction. Now she led the Concord's humanitarian medical corps, traveling to damaged worlds, healing wounds that war had left behind. Today she was on a colony that the Hollow had attacked long ago. The planet was slowly recovering, but the scars remained. Children who had lost parents, parents who had lost children, minds broken by memories of horror. Walked through a hospital ward, checking on patients, offering words of comfort. A young girl watched her with curious eyes. "You are human," the girl said. "Yes," replied. "My grandmother says humans saved us from the Hollow. She says you are the bravest species in the galaxy." Knelt down to meet the girl's eyes. Bravery is not about species. Bravery is about choosing to help when you could walk away. Anyone can be brave, even you. The girl smiled. It was the first smile had seen on this world. General had retired as well, but he could not stop working entirely. He now served as an instructor at the Concord Military Academy, teaching young officers from every species the art of war. His classes were always full. Students came from across the galaxy to learn from the human who had defeated the Hollow. They expected a monster, a killing machine. They found something else. War is not about killing, told his students. War is about protecting what you love. Every bullet fired, every ship destroyed, every soldier lost must serve that purpose. The moment you forget why you are fighting, you have already lost. A student raised a tentacle. "But General, your species is famous for fighting. You have wars in your history that lasted centuries. How can you say war is not about killing?" Nodded. "It is true that humans have fought many wars. It is also true that most of those wars were mistakes. We killed each other over land, over religion, over ideas. We nearly destroyed ourselves more than once." He paused. "But we learned. Slowly, painfully, we learned that the only wars worth fighting are the ones that protect life. The war against the Hollow was such a war. We fought because if we did not, everyone would die." He looked around the room, meeting every eye. "You will be soldiers. You will command ships and armies. You will make decisions that determine whether people live or die. I cannot tell you how to make those decisions. But I can tell you this. When you are unsure, when you do not know what is right, ask yourself one question. Am I fighting to protect or am I fighting to destroy? If the answer is protect, you are on the right path." On Earth, Admiral Bay had retired completely. He lived in a small house by the sea, watching the waves, thinking about the journey that had brought humanity to the stars. Sometimes he dreamed of the war, the faces of soldiers he had sent to die, the weight of decisions that could not be undone. He did not sleep well most nights. But sometimes, young people came to visit him, officers who wanted advice, students who wanted to hear history from someone who had lived it, children who wanted to meet a hero. "You are not a hero," his wife told him one morning. "You are a stubborn old man who happened to be in the right place at the right time." Laughed. "You are right. I have always been stubborn." "The galaxy needed stubborn," she said softly. "The galaxy needed someone who would not give up." Looked out at the sea. Somewhere beyond the horizon, the stars waited. His people were out there, building, exploring, protecting. The legacy he had helped create would outlive him by thousands of years. "I wonder what comes next," he said. As if in answer, a message arrived from Prime. High Arbiter's face appeared on his screen. "Admiral, we have encountered something new. An emissary has arrived at the station, not from any species we know, not from anywhere in the galaxy." She paused. "It says it has been watching humanity since the war. It wants to talk." Felt his heart beat faster. Another challenge, another unknown, another chance for humanity to prove itself. "What do you need from me?" he asked. "I need your advice. You were there at the beginning. You saw us go from prisoners to partners. Now we face something that could change everything again. Eyes were serious. This entity is old, Admiral, older than the Hollow, older than the Conquered. It has power we cannot understand, and it is curious about us. Was quiet for a moment, then he smiled. Then let us make a good impression. The emissary was a being of pure thought, appearing as light shaped into a form that mortal eyes could understand. It called itself the Watcher. It had observed the galaxy for millions of years, rarely interfering, simply watching. High Arbiter met with it alone. We watched the Hollow for eons, the Watcher said. It was a problem we could have solved, but we chose not to. Interference leads to dependency. Species must grow on their own or not at all. Then why are you here now? Asked. Because of you, because of humanity. The light shifted, patterns dancing across its surface. We have watched countless species rise and fall. Most are predictable. They grow, they stagnate, they die, but you're kind. You are different. You should have died 100 times. You did not. You should have destroyed yourselves with your own weapons. You did not. You were trapped by the Conquered and you turned your prison into a forge. The Watcher moved closer. And when the galaxy needed saving, you saved it. Not for reward, not for power, because it was right. The being paused. We have never seen anything like you. Felt fear, but she did not show it. What do you want from us? We want to offer you a choice. The galaxy you know is small. Beyond its borders are other galaxies, other realities, other challenges that make the Hollow look like children playing with toys. We offer you the chance to join us, to become watchers, to help guide the universe toward something better. Thought about everything humanity had been through. The fear, the rejection, the war, the sacrifice, the long road from monsters to partners. I cannot speak for all of humanity, she said finally. But I know what we will say. We will join you not as watchers but as who we are. We will not just observe. We will act. We will protect. We will fight when fighting is needed and heal when healing is needed. That is what humans do. The Watcher was silent for a long moment. Then the light began to pulse and realized it was laughing. Yes, the Watcher said. That is exactly what we hoped you would say. In a small park on Prime, Captain Park sat on a bench, watching the station's artificial sun set. He was old now, his body worn by decades of service. But his mind was still sharp, his heart still beating with purpose. A young child approached him. Her fur was soft, her eyes wide with wonder. "Are you Captain Park?" she asked. "The human who first came to the Conquered?" Park smiled. "I am. That was a very long time ago. My teacher says humans were scary back then. She says everyone was afraid of you." "They were," Park admitted. "We were different. We came from a hard world. We survived things that would have killed other species. The Conquered did not understand us. But now they do." Park looked at the child, so small and innocent, born into a galaxy that would never know the fear her grandparents had felt. "Now they know us," he said. "They know that we are protectors as much as predators. They know that we fight because we love, not because we hate. They know that when the darkness comes, humanity will stand between it and the light." The child was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Will you teach me?" Park smiled and patted the bench beside him. "Sit down. Let me tell you a story." And as the stars came out over Prime, the old captain began to speak. It started with a ship called the Horizon.